Hollywood, the land of dreams, where the sun always shines, the cars are always fast, and the stars are always impossibly beautiful. It's an industry built on crafting perfect fantasies, selling us stories of heroes, lovers, triumphant underdogs. For decades, the studio system was the undisputed king of this fantasy factory, meticulously building stars from the ground up, polishing them until they shone with an almost celestial light. We bought into it, hook, line, sinker. We lined up for the movies, we bought the magazines, we wanted to believe in the magic. But here's the thing about magic tricks. They rely on misdirection. While we were all looking at the dazzling smile on screen, a whole lot of ugly business was happening just out of frame. The same studios that built these stars into demigods were also masters of a much darker art: control. They managed every aspect of their stars' lives, who they dated, what they ate. And when a scandal threatened to shatter the illusion, they would bury it, spin it, or erase it entirely. It was a system of smoke, mirrors, and ruthless efficiency. Tonight, we're going to pull back the velvet curtain. 4 cases the studios never wanted you to see. Because behind the glamour lies a complicated, tragic story. So buckle up. Things are about to get uncomfortably real. Let's start with Rock Hudson. If you were to design the perfect 1950s leading man in a lab, you would end up with something that looked exactly like him. He was tall, impossibly handsome, with a voice that could melt butter from across the room. He was the ideal of American masculinity, marketed relentlessly by Universal as the ultimate heterosexual dreamboat. They paired him with Doris Day in romantic comedies, Pillow Talk, and the image was perfect and profitable. The problem was, Rock Hudson was gay. In the 1950s, that was a 5-alarm fire for Universal. The foundation of his stardom rested on a lie, and they didn't just ignore it, they suppressed it. Their chief weapon was Henry Wilson, predatory, brilliant at spin, a Machiavellian puppet master of the press. He orchestrated Hudson's public life with military precision, every photo op, every interview, every public appearance. The tactic: staged romances. These were business transactions, not dates. The actresses got publicity, Hudson got a beard. Photos were fed to gossip columnists, Hedda Hopper, Luella Parsons, and worse, Confidential in 1955. Wilson traded dirt on clients to kill the story. Rory Calhoun, tab hunter. He sacrificed 2 careers to save one. Still not enough, so he staged a marriage. Hudson married his secretary, Phyllis Gates. A studio-managed wedding for maximum press. For 3 years, they played a happy couple, their home profiled in magazines. The marriage was a sham. Gates later said she was duped. They divorced bitterly, but the studio bought time. For decades, the secret held. The persona stayed intact. Then the 1980s AIDS crisis hit, called the Gay Plague by cruel headlines. In 1985, Rock Hudson became the public face of AIDS. The announcement put a famous face on the epidemic. It spurred funding and helped destigmatize the disease. It also exposed the human cost of the studio system. Hudson had sacrificed his identity and happiness for a career. This isn't a quaint anecdote. It's a tragedy about an industry that valued illusion over humanity. If Rock Hudson's story is about the suppression of identity, Judy Garland's is a harrowing tale of systemic abuse disguised as artist development. From the moment she signed with Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer at 13, she wasn't treated as a person. She was an asset. A prodigiously talented asset. A voice that could break your heart and put it back together in a single song. To the studio, and specifically its tyrannical head, Louis B. Mayer, she was property to be molded, controlled, and exploited for profit. Mayer cultivated a paternal image, but his parenting style was more Cromwellian dictator with a film slate. He relentlessly criticized Garland, calling her his little hunchback, because she wasn't as tall and slender as starlets like Lana Turner or Ava Gardner. This barrage of psychological abuse laid the groundwork for lifelong body image issues and crippling self-doubt. The studio's control extended to her body. To keep her weight down, Garland was put on a starvation diet. Chicken soup, black coffee, and up to 80 cigarettes a day. Executives monitored her meals. Imagine being a growing teenager told your future depends on starving yourself. It was torture and standard operating procedure. The most insidious tool was pharmaceuticals, inhuman schedules, amphetamines to work, barbiturates to sleep. This cycle began when she was still a minor. The studio, her legal guardian on set, systematically addicted a child to powerful drugs. This wasn't a secret problem, it was a studio-mandated regimen, handed out as casually as aspirin, a practice that today would mean a mountain of criminal charges. Meanwhile, the press was fed a different story, the cheerful girl next door with wholesome hobbies. Troubles were quashed or spun. The human cost was catastrophic. Psychological abuse, malnourishment, forced addiction wrecked her health and led to severe dependency. Look at the Wizard of Oz. At 16, strapped into a corset, surviving on coffee and stimulants, enduring constant criticism. The Technicolor fantasy was built on black and white misery. When struggles showed, lateness, weight shifts, uneven performances, the response wasn't compassion, it was punishment. Suspensions. Fired in 1950 after making them hundreds of millions. The machine that built her discarded the pieces. There were brilliant comebacks and concerts, but the addiction and trauma remained, a dark shadow from bright lights. Judy Garland's legacy is her incredible talent, and a permanent reminder of the human cost of fantasy. A dream factory became a torture chamber. A star was systematically broken. If the studios hid secrets, they were grandmasters at spinning disasters. None bigger than the death of Johnny Stompanato, a low-level mob enforcer for Mickey Cohen, handsome, brutish, embroiled in a volatile affair with MGM's sweater girl, Lana Turner. On April 4, 1958, during a vicious argument at Turner's Beverly Hills home, Stompanato was stabbed to death with a kitchen knife. The person holding the knife, her 14-year-old daughter, Cheryl Crane. She said to protect her mother from assault. For any modern celebrity, career-ending catastrophe. But Lana was a major MGM asset, their income stream. The studio and Jerry Giesler launched crisis management. Goal: save Lana Turner's career, not find abstract truth. Choreograph the whole spectacle, from police station to courtroom. Frame the narrative. Not mob squalor, a mother's tragedy. Lana the victim, Cheryl the protector. Publicity machines fed sympathetic details. Stompanato's abuse, Turner's fear. They were turning a potential villain into a tragic heroine. Centerpiece: Lana's testimony. Not just testimony, performance of her life. She described threats, rage, terror, and broke down at key moments. Some whispered it was her greatest role. Genuine emotion or brilliant acting or both. It worked. Media and public were captivated. The courtroom turned into a movie set, and Lana Turner was the star. Mob connections threatened chaos. Giesler reportedly met Cohen to calm the storm. Love letters mysteriously leaked, oversaturating sordidness while reinforcing a volatile affair, making a violent end feel inevitable. The inquest ruled justifiable homicide. Cheryl Crane was cleared. The strategy succeeded. Turner's career revived. Imitation of Life became a massive hit. The scandal made her bigger. But let's be clear, the studio manipulated law and media, coached the star, shaped the narrative, perhaps suppressed evidence to protect profits. They manufactured reality itself. The truth of that pink bedroom became secondary to the story that needed to be told. Finally, Errol Flynn. If Rock Hudson was the ideal gentleman, Flynn was the ideal rogue. The dashing hero of Robin Hood and Captain Blood. His off-screen life matched the persona, in like Flynn. His motto: I intend to live the first half of my life. I don't care about the second half. For a time, it added to his charm. In 1942, the brand curdled. Flynn was charged with statutory rape by two underage girls, Betty Hansen and Peggy Satterley. They alleged encounters on his yacht and at a Hollywood party, both while minors. For Robin Hood's star, a PR cataclysm, potentially career-ending felonies. Warner Brothers snapped into action. Their swashbuckling franchise depended on Flynn. They launched an aggressive, morally dubious campaign. Destroy the accuser's credibility, make Flynn the innocent victim of starstruck liars. Fixers and private investigators dug for dirt. Prior sexual activity, any angle to recast two teens as jaded, promiscuous delinquents. Jerry Giesler's defense was textbook victim blaming, using diaries and relationships against them, arguing they flung themselves at Flynn. Meanwhile, WB planted stories of patriotism, dedication, wholesome family life, photos with his wife to counter the predator image. They mobilized the American Boys Club for the defense of Errol Flynn, adoring women cheering daily, shaping a powerful visual of innocence. It worked. The jury acquitted Flynn on all charges. He walked free. Heroic image mostly intact. Warner Brothers had saved their asset. The machine had won. The studio even rushed uncertain glory to capitalize on publicity. The victory carried a moral cost, a public smearing of two teenage girls. Power used not to seek justice, but to manipulate it. Profit over potential truth, creating a playbook for evading accountability. The message was clear. If you're valuable enough, the system will protect you. The Flynn trial reveals deep cynicism and corruption in Hollywood. A story where the hero may have been a villain, and the system buried the truth to keep the reels turning. The swashbuckler kept swashbuckling, because the studio engaged in serious skullduggery on his behalf. So, there you have it. 4 stories, 4 stars, and 4 masterclasses in studio-sanctioned deception. From concealing an identity, manufacturing an addiction, spinning a homicide, burying a rape charge. The old studios weren't just dream factories. They were reality-bending machines, judge, jury, and publicist, protecting assets and fantasies. Rock Hudson, Judy Garland, Lana Turner, Errol Flynn, more than marquee names. People shaped and broken by a system that saw commodities first, humans second. The ghost remains, PR firms and social media replacing fixers and columns, but the impulse to control and spin persists. Look past the polish. Question the official story. Behind every perfect fantasy lies a complicated, messy reality. Thank you for watching.